Yes, indeed. In history, uh, in modern Japanese history, for example, after World War II, kendo was made illegal for about 5 years. Okay, so there was a period of time where nobody was allowed officially to do kendo training. And the way that kendo, well, the reason was because kendo we use, oh, here we go, shinai, which is supposed to be, yep, representative of katana. And this was associated with militarism and the Japanese war machine, which used the ideals of Bushido as a kind of a motivational force to encourage the young men and women to go and sacrifice their life for the empire of Japan. And because of that, when Japan lost the war, kendo in particular, because it's very close connection to samurai and Bushido, kendo in particular was seen as a dangerous militaristic propaganda device. And so it was considered to be dangerous to teach in schools and in the community. But of course, as you know, if we were suddenly told to stop doing kendo, it's like, hell no, I want to do kendo. Even now, you know, in COVID-19, it's we cannot go to the dojo, of course, but it's becoming very frustrating. So after the war, kendo was gradually able to be reinstated. It was a gradual process. They even had to change kendo to make it less militaristic. So they invented a kind of a hybrid kendo called shinai kyogi, which does not have kiai, does not have tayatari, and it's kind of like Western fencing and kendo mix, right? So it's not like the kendo we do now, but these are the path that people had to invent to be able to do kendo once again. And if you look at kobudo, you know, koryu, the classical styles, ryu means, at the end of each school, it has ryu. So onohai ryu, yagyu shin kage ryu, whatever, jikshin kage ryu, ryu. Ryu means school, but it also means, the kanji means to flow. And like a river, the river is never straight. Okay, sometimes it'll take a turn, sometimes it'll go fast over the rapids, and sometimes it will be very deep and slow. So ryu, these old schools that have come down for hundreds of years, the ones that survive are the ones that are able to adapt. Okay? If it doesn't adapt, it cannot survive in a particular situation or environment. It has to be able to adapt. That is traditional Japanese teaching. But when you get stuck on tradition, it has to be this way, then that's not a flow anymore. And the situation, and Japanese history of swordsmanship has constantly been flowing, evolving to suit the situation, evolving to remain relevant to the times. And so our situation now with COVID means at the moment we cannot go to the dojo. But that doesn't mean to say that we can't do kendo. We can do kendo on our own. we're doing suburi or kihon on your own. We are doing kendo on Zoom, okay, virtual keiko. It is a time now where we can step back and look at kendo from a different perspective. It's a time now where we can read books. It's a time where we can analyze. It's a time where we can work on our personal fitness. It's a time where we can make a paradigm shift. Instead of doing this the way we're told to do it all the time without thinking about it, it's a time to look at it from a different perspective. So the book Hagakure has a really interesting lesson. I know this is a long one, I'm sorry. There's an interesting lesson. It said, disaster is a time to learn. There's two things that it says which are really cool. One is you need water to grow. So embrace the storm. Two, the more water there is, the higher the boat rises, which means you can see things that have always been in front of you, but you never notice. But if you rise in the boat, you see further and you see things from a different perspective and you learn. So just because we cannot go to the dojo now does not mean to say that we stop doing kendo. We learn to do kendo in a different way, because eventually we will come back. And the people who make the effort in different ways now, when we do go back to the dojo, you're going to be a step higher for sure. This is a wonderful opportunity. What you learn in kendo is to overcome adversity. That's the frustration. This is a frustration that we share everywhere in the world now as kendo people. Okay, but we learn to embrace difficulty and frustration in kendo. That is the whole point. That is the whole point of the process. Okay, and so now it is a hard time. We have to be careful. We have to be careful for our families and our friends. We have a social responsibility to stay well and to look after other people who are not. Kendo is something that will give us strength to do that. And also one really, really important lesson that we learn from kendo, which is the most relevant thing in this terrible time at the moment, is zanshin. Okay. Okay, after you make the strike, okay, it's not just taking kamae again, it's always being aware, never letting your guard down. And I see in countries now, they want to get their economy back going, so they think, okay, so the COVID-19 is, the number of people is going down a little bit, so we can start again. This is the time where you need zanshin. So kendo has the secrets for survival for all of humankind. We are doing that. We are learning that. Now is the real time for kendo. I don't look at it as a downtime. I look at it as an uptime. That is my approach at the moment.